Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Defining intersectionality in discourse analysis. Intersectionality in discourse analysis provides a crucial lens for examining how various forms of identity and oppression intermingle within communication. Originating from Kimberlé Crenshaw's foundational work, this concept extends beyond the realm of legal studies into diverse academic territories, including discourse analysis. By exploring how race, gender, class, disability, and other identity markers intersect in discourse, analysts can uncover the nuanced ways in which these intersections contribute to unique experiences of privilege or oppression. This approach enriches our understanding of language as not merely a vehicle for communication but as a powerful mediator of social reality. 1. Origins of intersectionality. Intersectionality is a critical framework first coined by legal scholar Kimberlé Crenshaw in the late 1980s. This concept emerged from critical race theory and feminist theory, offering a method to examine how overlapping and intersecting social identities, such as race, gender, class, and others, affect experiences of oppression and privilege. Crenshaw's work, particularly her analysis of the experiences of Black women, highlighted the limitations of previous legal and sociological analyses that addressed race and gender as mutually exclusive categories. 1. Origins and development. Kimberlé Crenshaw and legal discourse. Crenshaw introduced the term intersectionality in her 1989 paper, Demarginalizing the Intersection of Race and Sex, a Black feminist critique of anti-discrimination doctrine, feminist theory, and anti-racist politics. In this seminal work, she discussed how Black women are often marginalized in both anti-discrimination law and feminist theory, which typically treated race and gender as separate spheres. She argued that the experiences of Black women are frequently the product of intersecting patterns of racism and sexism, and that these intersections create unique experiences of disadvantage and discrimination. Influence of feminist theory. Intersectionality built upon feminist theories that critique the notion of a universal female experience, arguing instead that different kinds of identity markers, like race, class, and sexuality, profoundly impact what it means to be a woman. Feminist theorists like Bell Hooks and Angela Davis were instrumental in shaping these ideas, emphasizing that gender does not function in a vacuum and is often influenced by other social and cultural factors. Expansion in critical race theory. Within critical race theory, intersectionality provided a framework to analyze how racial identities interact with other identities to produce specific social dynamics and discrimination patterns. Critical race theorists used intersectionality to explore more deeply the varied experiences within racial groups and to challenge the essentialist views of identity in legal and social structures. 2. Methodological implications for discourse analysis. Analyzing texts and speech. In discourse analysis, intersectionality is used to examine how language and communication reflect and construct intersecting identities. Researchers analyze texts, media, policy discourse, and everyday language to see how different identity categories are represented and how these representations affect the perception and treatment of individuals and groups. Challenging singular identity focus. Intersectionality compels discourse analysts to move beyond analyzing single categories of identity, like just race or just gender, and to consider how multiple categories combine and intersect in complex and often unpredictable ways. This approach enriches the analysis by uncovering hidden biases and revealing more about the power dynamics at play in communication. Broadening the scope of analysis. Employing intersectionality in discourse analysis encourages a broader examination of context and culture, considering how historical and social contexts influence the way identities are discussed and enacted. This leads to a more nuanced understanding of social issues and contributes to more comprehensive and effective solutions. Intersectionality, originating from the work of Kimberlé Crenshaw and deeply rooted in feminist and critical race theories, has profoundly influenced discourse analysis by providing a robust framework to explore the complexities of identity and oppression. Its application in discourse analysis not only enhances the depth of analysis but also fosters a greater appreciation for the diversity of human experience, promoting a more inclusive approach to studying language and society. 2. Application in discourse analysis. Intersectionality, a term coined by Kimberlé Crenshaw in the late 1980s, initially sought to address the experiences of oppression that could not be understood by considering racial or gender discrimination separately. This concept has since become vital in many fields, including discourse analysis, where it provides a framework for examining how various aspects of people's identities intersect to influence their experiences and the ways they are represented and discussed in both texts and spoken language. 1. Defining intersectionality. Intersectionality refers to the interconnected nature of social categorizations such as race, class, gender, sexuality, and disability, which can lead to overlapping and interdependent systems of discrimination or disadvantage. It's a theoretical approach that says individuals are often disadvantaged by multiple sources of oppression: their race, class, gender identity, sexual orientation, religion, and other identity markers. Intersectionality recognizes that identity markers do not exist independently of each other. Each one informs the others, often creating a complex convergence of oppression. 2. Application in discourse analysis. When applied to discourse analysis, intersectionality significantly enhances the analytical framework used to examine texts and spoken language. Here's how. Multiple layers of identity. Intersectionality allows researchers to consider how various identities, e.g., race, gender, class, are not just individual additions but interact in complex ways. For example, the way women are spoken about in media can differ significantly based on their race, age, and socioeconomic status. Intersectional analysis in discourse helps illuminate these nuances. Unveiling power dynamics. By using intersectionality, discourse analysts can reveal how power dynamics are maintained and challenged within the language. Language that might seem neutral or benign can perpetuate certain power relations when viewed through an intersectional lens. This can include how subjects are positioned in a sentence or the choice of words that subtly reflect societal biases. Contextual depth. Intersectionality compels discourse analysts to look beyond the obvious, adding depth to the analysis of any given text or spoken exchange. It encourages looking into the historical, cultural, and social contexts that shape how and why certain identities are represented in certain ways. Critiquing normativity. It helps in critiquing the normative standards often reproduced in texts and discourse. For instance, analyzing advertisements or political speeches with an intersectional lens can expose the implicit norms around family, work, and success, which often privilege certain groups over others based on an intersection of identities. Expanding research perspectives. Finally, intersectionality broadens the researcher's perspective, urging them to consider multiple viewpoints and experiences. This inclusivity leads to richer, more comprehensive analyses that challenge the status quo and highlight marginalized voices. Incorporating intersectionality into discourse analysis not only enriches the understanding of texts and spoken language by revealing the multidimensional impact of different identity aspects but also pushes analysts to question the underlying assumptions and power structures within discourse. This approach fosters a more inclusive and critical analysis of language, helping to expose and hopefully dismantle systemic inequalities reproduced through discourse. Conclusion. The application of intersectionality in discourse analysis is transformative, offering profound insights into the complexities of identity as expressed and shaped through language. It compels researchers to consider the multifaceted nature of social identities and how they collectively impact the experiences of individuals and groups. This approach challenges simplistic representations and unveils the hidden dynamics of power and exclusion often embedded in discourse. By integrating intersectionality, discourse analysts can contribute to more equitable and inclusive understandings of social interactions, ultimately fostering a deeper appreciation for the diverse realities that shape human experiences. This methodological expansion not only advances academic discourse but also promotes a more socially conscious approach to analyzing and interpreting the world around us. Frequently asked questions. What is intersectionality in discourse analysis? Intersectionality in discourse analysis is a theoretical approach that examines how various forms of identity and systems of oppression, such as race, gender, class, and sexuality intersect within language and communication. This approach helps uncover how these intersections shape experiences and influence the way individuals and groups are represented in various discourses. Who developed the concept of intersectionality? The concept of intersectionality was developed by Kimberlé Crenshaw in the late 1980s. Originally introduced in the context of legal studies, particularly to address the experiences of Black women, intersectionality has since been expanded and applied across various disciplines, including discourse analysis. How does intersectionality enhance discourse analysis? Intersectionality enhances discourse analysis by providing a framework to understand the complexities of identity and oppression as they manifest through language. It helps analysts explore how multiple identities interact within a discourse, revealing deeper layers of meaning and exposing how social inequalities are perpetuated through language. What are the key concepts in intersectional discourse analysis? Key concepts in intersectional discourse analysis include the understanding of identities as multiple and intersecting, the recognition of various forms of systemic oppression, the examination of power dynamics within discourse, and the importance of context in shaping how identities are constructed and understood. Can you give examples of how intersectionality is applied in discourse analysis? In discourse analysis, intersectionality can be applied by examining how political rhetoric might differentially impact women of color versus white women, or how media portrayals of LGBTQ+ individuals intersect with issues of race and class. Analysts might look at how language used in healthcare policies affects elderly disabled individuals differently from younger ones, considering the intersections of age, disability, and healthcare access. What methodological approaches are used in intersectional discourse analysis? Methodological approaches in intersectional discourse analysis often include critical discourse analysis, CDA, which reveals the power structures within texts, and ethnographic methods, which provide insights into how people experience and navigate their intersecting identities in real-world settings. Narrative analysis is also significant for understanding personal stories and experiences through an intersectional lens. How does intersectionality influence policy and advocacy through discourse analysis? Intersectionality can significantly influence policy and advocacy by highlighting how policies might affect diverse groups differently. By revealing these nuances, policymakers can develop more inclusive policies that address the specific needs of marginalized groups, ensuring that no one is left behind or adversely affected due to their intersecting identities. What are the challenges of applying intersectionality in discourse analysis? Challenges include the complexity of analyzing multiple intersecting identities simultaneously, potential biases in selecting which intersections to focus on, and the difficulty of fully capturing the impact of these intersections in diverse social contexts. Additionally, maintaining an objective stance while addressing deeply personal and often politicized issues can be challenging. What is the relevance of intersectionality in contemporary discourse analysis? Intersectionality is highly relevant in contemporary discourse analysis as it addresses the growing recognition of diverse identities and the complexities of modern social issues. It provides a critical tool for understanding how various forms of oppression are interconnected and manifested in everyday communication, essential for promoting social justice and equality. How can intersectionality be integrated into academic and training programs? Integrating intersectionality into academic and training programs involves incorporating it into curriculum design, research projects, and teaching methodologies. Programs can foster a deeper understanding of intersectionality by encouraging studies that focus on the nuanced ways in which language shapes and is shaped by social identities and power structures. This includes case studies, cross-disciplinary projects, and active engagement with communities to understand and analyze real-world applications of intersectional theory.